very off center with my halo, so I'll try and lean over every now and again for you all to see my halo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our second episode of our One for the Road podcast live from Daniel O'Connell's, where we discuss everything local. Today we're doing the local edition, where we're discussing oysters, Guinness, and Old Town. Very, very excited to bring on board Tammy Smoker. Tammy is the distribution manager with Guinness. We also have the one and only Charlotte Hall. Charlotte is the managing director of Old Town Business Association. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So all of that, I'm starting from scratch again. Obviously, this is not pre-recorded, as you can tell. This is all very live. I apologize. This is what happens when you're in a building that was built in 1700 by an Irishman. But anyway, welcome everybody. This is our second episode of our podcast, which we've titled One for the Road. This is our local edition, where we're discussing everything Old Town, Guinness, and oysters. In no particular order, my special guest for today is Tammy Smoker. Tammy is our distribution manager with Diageo, who is also formerly known with Guinness. We have Charlotte Hall, who's our managing director at Old Town Business Association. Noe Landini from Landini Brothers Fish Market, Rex Club Junction, and other businesses. We have Mary Wadland from the Zebra Press and from Alexandria Curbside Dining. Like I said, this is just a casual chat of everything going on, and super excited. First of all, I just genuinely want to say thanks to all our special guests today, because I know how busy everybody is. And before I do anything here, I have to do this. Who has the best job in the world? Can I just say, right, lads, on a Wednesday? So anyway, Sam, would you mind bringing on, please, Miss Tammy and Miss Charlotte, please? Me?
We all have the best job. Cheers.
Hold on, we'll see the girls. See on? Okay, they're not coming up with me. That's okay. There's nothing. Okay, cheers, everybody. Okay, fantastic. So first of all, I'm just going to talk to you, Miss Tammy, if that's okay. First of all, welcome to your very first podcast here with us at O'Connell's. Both yourself and Charlotte are yourself and Charlotte are actually sitting in our O'Sullivan room, which is our upstairs private events room with the adjoining patio. So I just want to say that. And I myself, I'm in the Fitzgerald room, which is another one of our private rooms that we have here for private events. So Tammy, thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your schedule. You are one of the main sponsors for this year's Oyster Festival, Oyster Week. I'm going to hand over to Charlotte in a second, but very quickly, just to give everyone a bit of a snapshot of why we're here today. Some years ago, I had this vision, and I had shared it with Charlotte Hall, of bringing an Oyster Festival to mirror the one that is in Galway in Ireland. To bring something like that to Old Town Alexandria, to make us a location destination. And we had a massive event planned. Luckily, as I said, we were able to partner up with the Old Town Business Association. And unfortunately, COVID came in and kind of knocked us in the bum. So we had to shelve that, and we had, a much smaller event that we had last year. But without ruining anything else, I'm going to actually bring on Miss Charlotte Hall. Charlotte, if you could tell us a little bit more about Oyster Festival, Oyster Week, what it entails, how we've progressed from last year. And welcome, Charlotte, by the way.
Thank you. It's great to be here. We're honored that you are hosting us in your house. This event is October 16th through the 24th, and we kick off with our infamous oyster shucking contest among 20 restaurants from here in Old Town. And we're very honored and flattered that we have so many fabulous restaurants who are eager to share their oyster recipes. But we will be kicking it off, as I said, oyster shucking contest Saturday, October 16th. And then the whole week will be filled with oysters at various restaurants, paired with their favorite Guinness beverage, whether it's the Guinness coffee or a Guinness cider or a Guinness beer. So we're very excited. And don't forget, you can nosh on those Guinness chips at the same time.
Hold on. Do you have your chips?
I have our chips.
Oh, no, he's not on yet.
Yes.
Hold on.
But she won't let me eat them because she said I'd make too much noise.
Oh, well, yeah, actually, you're not allowed to eat them. We're under strict instructions now with any of our audio interruptions. We can't do anything. Anyway, so thank you, Charlotte. Thank you. And Tammy, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So Tammy, tell us, when you were first approached to ask to partner up with Old Town Business Association for the Oyster Festival, Oyster Week, I know you must have been very excited because you actually did go to Galway for the Galway Oyster Festival. So you have seen firsthand, boots on the ground, what the vision is ultimately going to be for Alexandria.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it was the year before COVID that I got to go to Galway. It was my last trip to Ireland, and it's amazing. I mean, you're on the water, you're eating oysters all day. They do dine-arounds, they do masquerades. Guinness and oysters have always been a natural pairing. I'm so blessed that I was pulled into this. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be a part. I'm excited to have so many restaurants participate last year and even more this year. I think it's just a really exciting way to show off Old Town and show off oysters, do some give back, show off Guinness, obviously, Old Town business. So yeah, I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Excellent. So, and just to jump back to you there, Charlotte, last year, if I can recall, we had something along the lines of 12 restaurants participate. We have greatly exceeded that this year with 20, as you said. Are you able to disclose who those 20 restaurants are at this time?
Able to disclose who it is?
Well, of course, we've got Fish Market, and we've got Chadwick's, and we've got Whiskey and Oyster. And, you know, people will just have to visit our website at www.oldtownbusiness.org to find out exactly who all 20 are.
I
do believe that O'Connell's is back in there to fight for best of the best, right?
So I'll be honest with everybody right now, and this is the point where we definitely bring in Mr. Noe Landini, because, you know, as much of an honest woman as I am encouraging any and all forms of cheating in this oyster shucking competition to dethrone Fish Market. I do feel they have an unfair advantage, knowing that, you know, considering what they offer every day, what their best sellers are, and they have many best sellers. If we had a potato peeling competition, I'm pretty confident we could completely wipe the slate clean with everybody. But welcome, Noe. Welcome. How do
you cheat? How do you cheat at opening an oyster? Like, you take like a hammer and a chisel?
You'll have to wait and see.
Huh?
That you'll have to wait and see.
It's not
possible. What's that?
It's not possible unless you have like a robotic iron hand or something crazy like that.
Might happen.
So you thought of that?
It could have that already. You're actually giving me more ideas now, actually, so okay. I appreciate that.
All
Noe.
Right.
So first of all, actually, is it Noe? And where did the name come from?
So in Italian, it's Noe. In English, it's Noe. And hey, Tammy. And in Irish, it's Noe.
Noe.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Okay. Well, Noe. Well, welcome, Noe. And Noe, tell me, where are you at the moment? You're in Landini's, I'm guessing.
I'm on the second floor of Landini Brothers right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just said hi to Tammy because she just walked by from that downstairs bar.
I'm like, it must be a different Tammy.
Very good. It's a different Tammy.
Different Tammy, not Tammy Smoker.
Not Tammy Smoker. Excellent. So, Noe, just because again, and like that, I'm hoping that any of your viewers, if anyone has any questions, please jump on, ask any questions. We do have a bit of an interactive giveaway at the end of the show, so please feel free to chime in. But Noe, tell me, your family has been a staple in Alexandria for a long time. Where did everything start?
Well, the room I'm sitting in right now used to be a hair salon. Back when my dad opened Landini Brothers in 1979. And actually, Landini started just on the ground floor in the 115 building. And Landini's now is 115 and 117 King Street. But back in '79, it was just a little dining room, a bar, and a very small kitchen in the back, and 2 bathrooms, and that was it. The second floor was shared space. It was an office and a hair salon. And then next door on 117, which they expanded to in 2000, or just before 2000, in 99, was a art studio and no, actually it was an art school.
Wow.
And an art gallery. And actually we were flanked by art galleries because there was where the club is today was also an art gallery.
Wow.
In '79, my dad moved over. Actually, '78 moved over from across the street at 100 King. There we go. Cheers.
Come on. Cheers. Shlantip.
And he had a restaurant there in '77 called Pelicano. And him, his brother, Rigoberto, who's in the kitchen still today, and Susan. Hergenrather at the time was Susan Duke. She was the bartender who's still here today. all four of them moved across the street to 115 King Street, and my dad's parents flew over from Italy, and my grandmother was in the kitchen helping cook, and my dad was eventually in the kitchen cooking as well. But to get things up and running, him and my grandfather built the bar, which is still downstairs today. In those days, you used to do everything yourself. And we don't do that anymore. I have a hard enough time, screwing and unscrewing things with a set of instructions and a drill. But back then, they made their own bars. They did their own carpentry, and the building was in somewhat bad shape. I mean, it was a beautiful building, but you can still see today. My grandfather was a very meticulous guy, and they took old newspapers and because there was a draft coming in from outside.
Wow.
They would take he would make a paste and rip up old newspaper, and he would fill all the cracks from the old stone and brick on the outside to prevent the air coming from inside, because there's no insulation. I mean, it's just stone, right? It's stone and mortar, or brick and mortar. And so you can see in certain parts, as a matter of fact, that not too long ago, a piece fell out of somehow a piece fell out of the mortar, and I looked down. I said, "What is this?" And I was walking in the foyer at the front, and I picked it up and I unrolled it, and I realized that it was what my grandfather had, one of the things that he had done to fill the holes. And I unrolled it, and it was a piece of newspaper, and it was the top piece of newspaper. I unrolled it, and it said February 1979.
Wow.
So it's one of the pieces that he had put in. But anyway, that's how it started. It started like that, and they didn't have a bar, or they had the bar, but they didn't have alcohol.
Right.
My dad and my uncle were eating cereal because they put all their money into the food, and they didn't want to eat the food because that was for the customers. So when they opened, I think on the second or third day, there were a couple ladies at the bar, customers, and they wanted a drink. They wanted some martinis. They wanted to have a martini lunch, and there was no alcohol. And so my dad went over and said, asked them what they wanted. They said, "Well, martinis." He goes, "I'm sorry, ladies, we don't have alcohol yet." He goes, "Why? Well, why don't you have alcohol?" He says, "Well, we went over budget, but we're going to get alcohol soon, I promise." And they said, No. They all whipped out their checkbooks, and they all wrote them a check for like a couple $100. And they said, "You go get some alcohol. We'll sit here and wait, and we're gonna have a martini lunch with you."
No, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, so that was how he filled the bar with booze. Was because of these three ladies. And he always makes sure he tells everybody, and I paid them back every penny.
Well, and what I'm laughing at and I'm not laughing, well, that's the coolest story of all time. But knowing what we've all gone through over the past 2 years with COVID and, cocktails to go, the rules have definitely changed a lot since then.
Oh, yeah.
ABC laws, they sure have. What an amazing story. But no, you also have, so the fish market and Pop's ice cream and Junction and Rex Club. And I know you have another business in DC. Expand a little bit more on those other businesses.
Yeah, I mean, the second restaurant we actually bought was Fish Market. And Fish Market was kind of in dire straits, not from a financial point of view, but it was a beat up restaurant. It had been run down, but it was still, pretty famous. I mean, it's been around since '75. And at that time, the original owner had passed, and he left it to 11 employees. And those employees, when you have 11 partners, everybody wants a piece of the pie. And at the end of the day, there was nothing left to keep the place going, and to keep it looking nice and keep things running well. And so as you can imagine, there were, after years of that and the abuse from just all the volume, we took it and room by room, we turned it around and fixed it up and made it shine and tuned up the menu a little bit. And so that was the second restaurant we opened. And then after that, opened Bar Deco in Chinatown. That was from scratch concept. And then Junction, well, I should say before Bar Deco was 113 Rex, a members only club. And that's a whole long story, maybe for another time. But that's also a very interesting story. We did the members only club next to Landini's at 113 King Street.
And what is also really cool that stands out in the 100 block is yours is the only restaurant that has the balcony. And that is,
yeah, on Fish Market.
Right.
Yes, that's correct.
That is absolutely, that's such a gorgeous feature.
Yeah.
How long has that been there? Actually, no, has it been there always? Or?
Yeah, the balcony's been there since '75, and when we did that renovation, we did a huge restoration on the outside of the building because folks may remember that the building was painted blue.
Okay.
All three buildings were painted. Well, no, two of the buildings were painted blue, and then one of them was just, I don't even know what color it was. It was just so weathered and patinaed. I don't remember what it was. But we actually, we repointed every brick, and wow. I think that the folks that we worked with did such a great job restoring it that they gave us the city gave us the Historical Preservation Award because it was so much work to turn that place around.
That's so cool.
And the mortar between the brick was like literally dust. I mean, you could just take it out with your finger.
Wow, I believe it. No, I absolutely do believe it. So you guys Fish Market won the oyster shucking competition last year, and he just knocked it out of the park. It was absolutely fabulous. And I do have to say, actually, all the restaurants who participated did an outstanding job. Like, I actually really was impressed. And a big shout out to the judges. Paige Moon, who was in charge of the judging panel, did an outstanding job. But and this was something earlier on, Noe, I know I had spoken to you about, because a lot of people are afraid to work with oysters in their home, right? And it's a case where, everyone loves oysters. But it does take, you know what I mean? Like, oh, do we go out for dinner? Do you want to try something at home? And I was just going to ask, what would you recommend to people if they wanted to, be brave and decide that they were going to cook in of an evening? What would you recommend as an easy dish to pair, obviously, with a lovely pint of Guinness, right? Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this area, I mean, it depends where you are, right? I mean, certain areas, you go to the Eastern Shore, or you go to different parts down south or the Pacific Northwest, I think oysters are definitely more approachable because it's more a part of the culture. Although, in this area, we like oysters just as much. It's just, I think that we're used to going out to get them in the restaurants. Mm-hmm. And there's also the element of, the uncertainty, like, where is the oyster from? How has it been kept? When was it harvested? And, like a lot of things, I mean, bad food can make you sick, but oysters can make you pretty sick if you don't know what you're looking for. So, I mean, first things first, to prevent a lot of problems is know where you're getting your oysters from. Most of the time when you buy oysters, no matter where you buy them from, there should always be a tag, a harvest tag. It'll give you information about where it's from, what the species of oyster is, and then it should also have some dates on there. And then where you're buying it from, they can tell you when it was delivered, and hopefully, I always like to ask, are you buying the oysters direct from the watermen? And remember, the people who harvest oysters, they're not fishermen, they're called watermen, especially on the Eastern Shore. And so you want to know that you're buying direct. And a lot of the times, there are, more middlemen, I guess I should say. And that's kind of when things start to get a little sketchy. So try to make sure that whoever you're buying from, if you're not buying direct, that they're buying direct. And that eliminates a lot of problems. And even though you might have a great oyster source, you still have to remember that when you're opening oysters, you want to look for obvious issues, that if the oyster doesn't look like an oyster, you shouldn't eat it. But also, it should be clear, briny. The water inside should be clear, should not be dirty. And the oyster should be bright and plump. It shouldn't be gray, and it shouldn't be mushy. If it's gray and mushy or the water's unclear, throw it out. Every once in a while, there is a bad oyster in the bunch, and you just need to know what you're looking for. And some of it's really just common sense, okay? At the end.
Right. Well, and that's all, like as you said, common sense, but for a lot of people, it's always a good reminder, you know what I mean, when they're looking to buy anything like that. I do want to actually bring in Charlotte and Tammy here before I bring in Mary Wadland, but we're this year teaming up with a program that I'm very excited about in order to keep our oyster, our oyster festival alive and to shine a light on the foundation, and that's the Oyster Recovery Partnership. And if you don't mind, Tammy and Charlotte, just to talk a little bit about that, because like I said, we're partnering with them this year. And do
you want to start? Okay.
Yeah. So we have a great plan in place with our Oyster Recovery Foundation out of Maryland, and they will be picking up oyster shells from each of the 20 participating restaurants. And it's a great opportunity with a nice donation going to the Oyster Recovery Foundation, thanks to Guinness.
Yeah, so it's super exciting this year. Last year was kind of our first year. We wanted to see what we could get done. This year we decided it only made sense to incorporate a charity into it, a charity that could give back to the Chesapeake and our community. So we asked for the donation, and we're doing $100 per participating restaurant. So the more restaurants we get, it's not too late, the more donation that the Oyster Partnership will get. So if you haven't signed up to join us for the week and give back and have some fun with us.
That's fabulous.
Join us when, Neve, special secret, if Noe Landini shows up, he and I will do the Oyster Tango down at the Potomac River.
All right. Noe, or Noe, as we call you in Ireland. That's a crowd pleaser.
Is that why you asked if I knew how to tango?
Can I ask that we can bring on Mary, please, to this lovely conversation that we're having here? Mary Wadland from the Zebra Press. Hello, Mary. How are you? Welcome.
Hello. How are you? I'm sitting here taking notes about all the great stories that you guys your topics are giving us. I got a story to write about Landini's and the mortar and the newspapers and about the oyster recovery.
And of course, I'm making sure everyone knows that to pick up your copy of this month's Zebra Press, which you can pick up all over in various locations around Old Town and Alexandria. So if you haven't already, have a look. O'Connell's are featured just in case you want to read up a little bit about us. But anyway, so Mary, tell us, just for in case those of you, because I know we do have a few people watching from Ireland, and there's always people looking to get inspired for different ideas. But you set up during COVID the Alexandria curbside dining page that just exploded, and it literally, I know it saved us. I mean, we were all in panic stations and everyone is, you know what I mean? So it was a genius idea that you came up with, and overnight your membership was like doubling, tripling, and now it's at how many members do you have now?
Almost 15,000 last time I looked. Yeah, it's getting up there.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge.
And interestingly, we monitor all of those membership requests. And if people don't tell us something that they know in Alexandria and and say they're going to remain positive, they don't get accepted. So as many as we let in, we block and decline so many because we're not Yelp and we're not there to diss anybody. And that was the whole idea, was that restaurants needed all the help they could get. And
absolutely, and it was a great way, even just for the community itself, to come together. And like, there was restaurants I never heard of,
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. That special looks amazing. I'm going to try that. And it genuinely was just a fabulous way for everyone to come together. Now, you've been around a long time in Alexandria with Miss Charlotte Hall. What
Yeah.
was your story? What brought you here, Mary? Or are you a native to Alexandria?
No, I'm a native Floridian, but I went to college in Virginia at Hollins College outside Roanoke, and we all migrated to Washington to get our jobs. And I thought I was going to go to law school, but I needed to get a job. And I was living in Fairlington, and they were delivering the Alexandria Gazette packet to Fairlington back then.
Wow.
And I looked in the classified section, and it said, job, big job sales. And so I called, and I spoke to Jerry Vernon, who is still at the Alexandria Gazette packet.
Wow.
And he hired me in 1988. And I stayed there for 10 years. And in that time, we started the Mount Vernon Gazette together. And I got to know a lot of people in Alexandria and Old Town. And then I left publishing for a little while at the end of the 90s and got into real estate, because in our paper, all the real estate ads. And I thought,
Right.
I could do that. I need a break. So I did that for a few years. And then I came back and worked for the Alexandria Times. And then in 2009, I thought, you know what? I'm going to start my own. I just think there's a place for a voice in Alexandria that is colorful, is joyous, and it celebrates everything good about the town. And
Right.
that's why I started Zebra. And it's black and white and red all over. READ is our motto. And we only want to talk about positive things. And
Right.
and I didn't know if it would take off. A lot of people said, Mary, you can't do it. There's too many products already in this town. So I said, well, let's just try it. So I printed the first one, and I waited to see if the phone would ring, because I started it on a shoestring, and the phone rang, and people said they wanted to be part of it. So that was 11 years ago.
Wow. Well, you do an amazing job of covering everything local. Lucille, I know she's wherever there's anything happening, you'll see Lucille with her camera, her cell phone, and she's taking pictures and interviewing, and she does a great job, as does Debbie. You have an amazing team. How many people in total do you have on the Zebra Press?
Well, if we were to have a party of all the freelancers and everybody, it's over 50 people now that identify as being part of the Zebra. We have a number of stringers, freelancers that contribute, and we have the whole ZTV section now, and we have editors, and it's just grown and grown and grown. It's beyond me, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, well, as I said, when I first moved here, good grief, it's going back now 12 years ago nearly at this stage. It was like, as an ex-military wife, you would always go and pick up the local paper to find out what's going on, where are the cool places to go, events, live music, all of these things. And you've always done an amazing job in doing that. Where do you see yourself, Mary? Like, what's your vision for the future? I mean, like I said, you did an incredible job and a service to the residents of Alexandria with the curbside page on Facebook. But what's the next step for you?
Well, we've really tried to marry the digital and the print products together. We found that we have very distinct audiences. Some people just follow us online and with our Facebook and don't even know we have a print product. And some people just follow us on print. So we're trying to get a little more cross connection with that. That's a big focus point for us. And then we're expanding. And we just started the Z Dish newsletter, which will come out every other Friday. One thing we've learned is this town is hot for food. And we've had a foodie section ever since we started the product. But when I just put that little Facebook group together, because some of our advertisers were just saying, can you get the word out that we're cooking brisket this afternoon? Can you get the word out that we're going to have? And then we also had a lot of readers saying, how can we patronize the restaurants? So it was those two people kind of coming together and asking us that we started it. I thought we'd have 400 or 500 people on there. Well, like the first week it was 1,000, and like you say, it just zoomed up to 10,000, 12,000 in the first year. But what we found was anything related to food goes viral.
Yeah.
So if something new is happening, if there's a new place coming to town, people want to read about it. People want to, I mean, Alexandria is a food destination now.
Right.
And so in addition to that, we thought maybe we should start a little newsletter every other week to give people the hot news and to give people some interesting things. If they're really foodies and want to follow along, like what Noe was saying a few minutes ago, it'll be fun to write in the newsletter about the first martini lunch at Landini's.
That is the coolest. That is the cool. Well, and that's the great thing about where we are in Alexandria, because this really is the epitome of the melting pot.
Right.
I mean, we're in the capital, so to speak. And so you're in a constant transient area. So it's like with every departure of a business or a family or whoever has a cool story, they always leave something behind, and it's what that's left behind has made Old Town what it is today. And I'm certainly so excited to see, you know, where I mean, quite honestly, obviously, selfishly, I'm thinking of the Oyster Festival, where that'll be in 20 years from now, because I would love to think that we'll be competing with the likes of Galway. Because we have everything here. Like we really do. We have the infrastructure, we have the water, we have the hotels, we have the restaurants, we have the bars. You know, we have the boutique district, we have the retail, we cover everything, you know what I mean? So I just want to say you're an absolute treasure, and there's hundreds of us restaurateurs just forever in your debt for being that positive shining light, Mary, because I mean, there were tough times, and you guys just, you know, you didn't stop highlighting all the positivity, and it literally made the difference to all of us. Even on a really horrible day, reading the lovely messages from people just was very, very uplifting, you know, kind of thing. So I really do thank you on behalf of all of us. Absolutely. So I'm actually going to bring back in Miss Tammy Smoker. Tammy, I'd like for you to actually talk us through the products that you have. So again, just to reiterate, for any restaurants who are still thinking of joining, there's still plenty of time to get involved with the Old Town Oyster Festival. 2 requirements, I understand, Charlotte, you can back me up on this, but you must be a member of Old Town Business Association. You must do a Guinness pairing with a Guinness product, and I don't necessarily think that you have to have it like a drink. It can be a sauce, it can be whatever you want. But I know, Tammy, you have some samples here that you want to talk us through. So I'm going to leave this in your expert hands.
There they are.
Say again, Neve?
So I just want you, so the selection of the samples that you have, I'd like you just to talk us through. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's a plethora to choose from. So I have the privilege of working with the most amazing beer from Ireland. When I started working for Diageo Guinness 9 years ago, I didn't know how lucky I was to sell one of the best products in the world. But for this week, Guinness and oysters, like I mentioned, is a natural pairing. Guinness draft, which is what we all know of coming out. But there are so many new things to choose from with our new brewery just up in Maryland. If you haven't been or haven't heard of it, the Open Gate Brewery has been open 3 years now. And there's a ton coming out of there. The first beer they brewed out of there that became regional and national is the Baltimore Blonde, something really delicious to choose from. Just finishing now from the summer was our Salt and Lime, which today I was thinking like this raw oyster.
This one, that actually looks beautiful. That looks, I'm going to open mine, actually.
Open it. It's so good. You're going to love it. Yeah. And then our newest release that will be just regional, just for us, but available widely on that week is our Guinness Amber Ale, which is really, really another nice choice.
Okay.
Charlotte and I were talking about, this is from Ireland, our Guinness Nitro Cold Brew Coffee.
Oh, that's right.
You have to just smell it. It has the widget, just like Guinness does in can, right? Woo! We've got a little spill. But the amazing thing about this beer is it's made with coffee and Guinness. And it's not like some other coffee beers where it's kind of sweet. You get that really beautiful bitter coffee taste with the Nitro Cold Brew in it. Only about, I don't know, the amount of caffeine. Can you smell it? Can you smell it? Here, I'm going to waft it to you.
Ooh.
Yeah. As like a cup of coffee. but really another delicious choice. But there's a ton to choose from. Reach out to me, reach out to my Awesome Wholesaler Premium. They can also tell you all the Guinness options for the week. But I think it'll be really exciting. I plan to eat a lot that week and see all the pairings that come together, whether it's from the Open Gate Brewery or from Ireland, and see what all these awesome accounts in Old Town will come up with. So thank you again.
Of course. I actually, hold on now a second, right?
Did you try the salt and lime?
I'm drinking it right now.
It's
Don't
so good.
tell my boss, John Brennan. It's actually, we can tell him it's Gatorade, right? It's Gatorade out of a Guinness can.
Guinness Gatorade.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to, and this is actually, I'm excited to put this out there. I'm running a competition. It's all very friendly and supportive. I love Noe. I love Fish Market. I love Landini's. Right? But I have to be honest, I know our strengths here in O'Connell's, okay? And we have the greatest staff of all time. But oyster shucking would not be one of them, okay? So I'm asking our viewers, any fans of O'Connell's, if you want to be an employee of the day and you want to represent O'Connell's, okay, at the oyster shucking competition, I would love for you to message me, send us a message on Facebook. You will be eating oysters and drinking Guinness all day. And here's the genuine thing. I want serious oyster shuckers. I told you, I'm completely cheating. I want legit people who are going, oh my gosh, I am so about this, right? So you'll be an employee for the day of O'Connell's. And if you, whatever your crazy story is, I want to hear all about it. And I'm just hoping that
maybe
there's someone out there.
Steal a Fish Market person.
Well, you see the other thing, that's
she's gonna need all the help she can get.
Well, and the other thing, the same person, right, who will be picked to represent O'Connell's, I will be giving a monetary donation to also the Oyster Partnership to add to their fund. And I also would like to say that the same person gets a trip to the Guinness Baltimore for two, a free tour. So as I said, and I'm hoping, and I'm going to spread this out to actually all the restaurants, because it is tricky for a lot of us who don't have the staff to give up. It's a busy Saturday morning for brunch for everybody. So there's, you know what I mean, you can have as many celebrities, expert oyster shuckers. I was even thinking, like, wouldn't it be great crack if I brought someone over from Ireland and just like had a famous oyster shucker?
Yeah, but
right.
I got a question. Have we thought about any Irish dessert?
Well, we already, you see, have the bread and butter pudding, which I was going to put in like a Guinness float.
But we can always have a little bit more dessert, because I want to share something with you. Can I share something with you?
Okay.
So we have here Green Island Bakery. Okay, from my friend Caroline Johnson.
I know what you're going to. I know what you're going
you know
to
about
say.
These? Huh?
Yeah. You had told me about that.
Hold on, look at this. I got all kinds. I've got all kinds of Irish shortbread cookies here.
Okay, game on. All is fair in love and war. We've had this concept going back to like West Side Story of the sharp between Landini's, like between the Italians and the Irish.
All right, I'm sharing. Don't worry, I'm sharing.
Okay. Well, can I also actually just remind everyone, and as much as we look forward to seeing everyone for the Oyster Festival, and I will hand back to Charlotte before we end off, I want to remind everyone that for the Nightmare on King Street, O'Connell's and Fish Market, and we are great friends. We are huge supporters of one another. We're partnering up this year, and there's actually going to be a competition between both of us. We're going to have the best costume from Fish Market and the best costume from O'Connell's, and we're going to have it literally. It be down to street cred. We're going to ask the people on the streets who gets to win. I'm going over to Fish Market to judge the staff competition, and Jessie is coming over here to judge the staff. And so we're going to have a lot of fun. you know, we love you guys in Fish Market and Landini's, and thanks for always just being an incredible neighbor, Noe. Thanks so much. And but you're going down. You're going down.
Wait, I'm not done. I got one more thing.
Okay.
So we were talking about supporting local business, right? That's one of the objectives here, and we've got Guinness here today, and we've got a beautiful O'Connell's and beautiful you, and I just shared these awesome cookies, which, by the way, these things are like super. Hold on, can you see that? Look at that, awesome. These are classic shortbread, and we've got chocolate chip and salted caramel and strawberry Irish shortbread. But even more important, I wanted to introduce you to the person that's behind these cookies. So can I do that?
Oh, very good.
All right, here we go. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there. I am also Irish, funny enough. So I've been listening. It's great to meet you all. Caroline Johnston from Green Island Bakery. I'm the CEO and founder. And from the accent, yes, I am authentically Irish, and the whole purpose behind this was to set up authentic Irish baked goods. So we have the shortbread range in retail stores in the DMV, and we actually did an Irish festival about 3 weeks ago in Old Town. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, welcome, and congratulations. I cannot wait to sample them. I cannot wait to sample them. They look fabulous.
Thanks.
Good job.
Good job.
All right, ladies.
All right. Well, listen, thanks again to everybody. I'm going to just once again thank everyone for their time. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Noe. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Charlotte. We look forward to seeing everybody in Old Town 16th to the 26th, isn't it? 23rd. 24th, Jesus. We look forward to seeing everyone here. Come out, support your restaurants, support everything local, you guys, and appreciate and thank everybody. So from me here and Daniel O'Connell's, want to say Shlán to lads, your health. Good luck. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good show.